All right, around the country, it's our favorite time when we point out the cupcake games, the teams who scheduled FCS/1AA opponents for various reasons. Florida A&M, Austin Peay, Grambling State, Missouri State lined up, and there's our old friends from Savannah State, a school that you probably never heard of before last week when they took a 84-0 beating from Oklahoma State, and they are back again visiting the Knolls. All right, Dean Wojciechowski is covering a slightly more competitive game, USC at Syracuse at MetLife in New Jersey, but spent some time with Savannah State to get to the bottom of this story, and taking bucks for beatings, it's an interesting situation at Savannah State.
Well, Chris, early season mismatches aren't anything new, but Savannah State has taken it to historic levels and doing it strictly for the money. This is a program that has won a grand total of 12 games during the last 6.5 seasons, but its players and coaches are trying to make the best of an impossible situation.
For the first touchdown,
35-0 after one period. 7-0 after three.
This
team just appears to be outmatched.
They are called paycheck games.
Touchdown OSU.
And Savannah State is earning every penny.
Oklahoma State goes on to win it 84-0 over Savannah State.
Savannah State, ranked 244th out of 246 teams in the country, gets in, gets beat, gets paid, and gets out.
When you woke up Sunday after that Oklahoma State game, give me one or two words to describe how you felt.
Sore. I treat myself as the parent of these kids, and the Oklahoma State game was like the parent watching the kid not do well in Little League, and the helpless feeling that you get from that.
Last week, Savannah State was a jaw-dropping 60-plus point underdog, the Big 12 defending champion Oklahoma State. Against Florida State, the Tigers are even bigger underdogs, as high as 70 points.
What do you think the Seminoles are thinking?
Oh, 84-0. We're going to walk right over them.
You think there's a chance they could be taking you guys lightly?
They are.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't look at us much. And would you be able to blame them?
Actually, no. Savannah State will dress about 50 scholarship players for the game, while FSU will dress 85. The Tigers are on their 5th head coach in 7 years.
Hey, great day today, guys. Great day today. Get better. Here we go.
FSU has had 2 in the last 37. The Tigers play their home games in Theodore A. Wright Stadium, capacity 8,500. Against Florida State, they'll play in Doak Campbell Stadium, capacity 82,300.
Coach Davenport said yesterday, their weights are not made of gold. We had the same weights there. We lift the same weights.
They put their pants on just like we do.
Their pants are a little bigger.
Savannah State was supposed to play Northern Iowa Saturday, but wrote the contract to play Florida State and get a bigger guarantee, $475,000 minus a $200,000 buyout to Northern Iowa. Oklahoma State paid $385,000. Total guaranteed money, $660,000. That's a lot of zeros. The bad news, they've got 0 chance to beat Florida State.
Breaking news, Savannah State beats Florida State. Can anybody believe it?
Could you believe it?
Could I believe it? Yes, because anything is possible.
And so is the reality of another blowout.
Would you want to go through this again?
84-0? No, I don't want to go through that again.
Steve Davenport clearly isn't thrilled about these games, but he might not have any kind of choice in this. Athletic Director Sterling Stewart Jr. told me in an email that he plans to schedule 2 of these games against FBS opponents every year. He says the money and the exposure justify the blowouts. Chris?
All right, Gene, thank you. Well, FCS teams did beat FBS teams a handful of times last weekend, but this is not one of those times. I like the naive bravado of youth, but they're not going to shock anybody. No, I mean, they're going to go in there, they're going to get thumped. I hate games like this, frankly.
I know what athletic directors and head coaches are facing at the big-time programs. It's tough to find games sometimes to schedule, but this is ridiculous. And looking into the future, where we're headed with a selection committee in a couple years in college football, if you're an AD out there or you're a head coach, you better understand this needs to change, because when you have a selection committee and they're debating this at the end of the year, who's in and who's out, who's in the top 4 and who's not, they're going to look long and strong and hard at these non-conference games, and this doesn't do anybody any good playing teams like this.
The only good thing comes out of this is the victims get a lot of money.
Yeah.
The victims.
Yeah.
And listen, the winning coach helps build his morale and depth and gets to see his backers play the ball game.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons it's good for them.
Well, games like these, they leave a bad taste in my mouth. And, I think that my friend in the pink put it pretty eloquently the way he described it. But let me just put it to you point blank. These programs are prostituting themselves for a paycheck. Nothing more, nothing less. This is not good for the sport. I hate it, just like Chris said he does. And I think that these teams who take these games, they shouldn't count. And I hope the fans don't have to pay to watch this. I think this is horrible. This is not what the sport's about.
No, I agree. West Virginia canceled the series because they have the 9-game Big 12 schedule. So they pulled out. FSU had to scramble. That's how Savannah State did step in. But I'll tell you what, you want to give them a bunch of money. You want to look at your backups. Fine.
Right.
Make it an exhibition game. It doesn't count. It doesn't count as a win. If it's a loss, win, doesn't matter. And the stats don't count.
No,
the stats shouldn't count in games like this. You don't get credit for that. I mean, you go down to AAA ball and you bang away in a rehab stint. Those stats don't count in the major leagues. I say they shouldn't be official games, and the selection committee should in no way take them into consideration.
No,
not at all.
No, not at all. They should be penalized, if anything.
Exactly.
You're a horse owner. You want to get your horse in the Kentucky Derby. Graded stakes
big
earnings.
Today.
Yeah.
Big one today.
You own the horse?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
Part of
cool.
I own like the tail.
That's good stuff.
That's an important part. All right, there's no cupcake game in the Little Apple. Kansas State and Miami. You recall last year, the Wildcats, strong and stout, defending the goal line, protecting a 4-point lead. Miami